Eli Zion. What is your name?
Elijah Zion Talent.
Elijah Xylon Talent. Zion. Xylon. Dylon. He spit hot fire. You're down here. You stayed with me last night. You're going hitching a ride up to the comedy competition for Tim Loss.
Yeah, shout out tonight in Centralia, Illinois.
Yeah, we will be there. I'll be on the first comic up, so woo me. Thanks a lot, Tim.
I got 10th, so I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, that's a solid spot.
Oh, yeah.
10th, 8. Out of 15, yeah. I tried to get Mike Ratcliffe on, but he didn't answer me. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Dick. So, how you been, buddy?
About normal.
Yeah.
Just been writing jokes and walking.
Walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, explain that.
Oh, I walk everywhere. I don't have a driver's license per se, and I get really nervous when operating motor vehicles to the point where I fear for my safety. So I walk everywhere I go, and I sleep wherever I can. Usually on the way to a show or something. Always headed towards a show, whether it be music or comedy or, just always headed somewhere.
Yeah, but you picked a really gnarly spot to live for that lifestyle. Don't you think you should live a little closer to the clubs? Find you a patch of woods somewhere out there?
I've been
trying.
trying.
A lot of people would probably talk a little shit on that lifestyle, but I like I told you last night, I've been there.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Oh, sorry, I was doing on this little vinyl.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah, I did that. I chose that lifestyle for when I was 18 to about 20, 21. I had a little tent in the patch of woods on the beach, and I did it for a while. And I didn't always stay in a tent. I had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Hooked up with a lot of chicks,
That's
a lot of chicks out there that want to save and
very true.
And make you this project. I see potential in him. Yeah,
I can change him.
which I guess one finally did for me.
Good luck. Seriously.
My wife, but yeah, she's a miracle for what she's done. A lot of people would agree, but
I don't think my ex-wife thinks I'm.
Yeah, I would wait like I did if you're gonna live the way you're living.
Well, that was an accident. The marriage. That was we were just. We didn't know we got married until we woke up the next day, and people told us. Apparently, we were just both blackout drunk and decided we were going to go to the courthouse, which is never a good idea. If you're drunk, stay away from the courthouse. And I don't know. We got someone to officiate it. We had witnesses, and. I don't know. I think this could be bullshit, but one of her friends told us that there was a law in Colorado that you had to be married for 2 weeks or more unless you could prove infidelity or some shit. Probably some bullshit he made up, but so we decided we'd stay together for 2 weeks. Then I said, fuck that, let's do it for 21 days, because from where I'm from, Patton, Missouri, my family and shit, 21 is that's our mantra, that's our saying. It's right on. Far out, yes, no, 21, that's just what we say. That's just, it's in my blood, it's in my creed. And so we lasted for 21 days, didn't really have any problems, and we parted ways. I've only seen her once since.
Oh, well, you didn't get it nullified or nothing?
No, we got nullified.
Yeah. Right on. How much did that cost you?
I gave $400. She said she was going to take care of it. She's rich kid.
Come up, put the mic. You can move that around
cool.
Yeah.
She's I think what you would call a rich kid.
Yeah.
I am not. I was working at a campground store and managed to get my paycheck together for the month there, and had about $400 saved up. I gave that to her and told her just
Oh, well, she got you because it doesn't cost that much if both are agreeing to just sign the paperwork.
Well, there you go.
I believe you can do it online. As long as there's nothing to split up between the two, and there's no kids involved, that shit's pretty easy.
Well, Daisy, you took me for $400.
She still got you. For everything. She took everything. So,
Last $400.
so you've been doing comedy since you were 14.
Yeah. Well, I did comedy the first time whenever I was 13, but I didn't do it again until I was 14. And then whenever I was 14, I started hitting up mics every single month, multiple times, usually 2 times a week, because I lived in the middle of nowhere and I'd have to walk to Cape Girardeau was the closest place, or I'd have to hitch a ride from some family or get some comics to come pick me up. So
At 14?
yeah.
See, I think this might be the I'm starting to see the root of where we're at while we're at there. See, mine was all my own doing. I decided just to take the fuck off and do it on my own.
I did
Because I had a full-time job. I was like, I can afford my own rent. And, but I didn't do that until I was 16 and illegally able to by the emancipation laws.
Yeah. I didn't.
And you never got stopped, never fucked, the cops never fucked with you.
Oh, not really. I've had this weird. I've never been carded any place I've ever gone to from the time I was 16. Even I've been able to go into bars and comedy clubs and just do stand up. Been able to walk on the side of the road and get there. Never had a lot of troubles from the police with that. I've had troubles with the police.
And we see what's wrong with the yeah, you should. 14-year-old walking down the highway.
Not for that. I've had troubles with them for different reasons, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, so whenever I was 15, I got put on my first showcase, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and Tom Cook, shout out, great comedian. I was at a place called the Cup and Cork, which is now Ebb and Flow Fermentations, a really far out spot if you're ever in Cape Girardeau. Audra Novak, there you go. See, she hates it when I call her Novak. Audra Novak, she runs a show out there. I don't know if she does anymore, but she did before the pandemic, and I think she's going to get back into it once vaccines and shit all take off. But yeah, Cape Girardeau was the start for me. The Cup and Cork, Ragsdale's, various other spots around there, Carbondale. Then you got the fucking comedy club that was out there for a long time, which is, I don't know if it's ever going to come back. The Laughing Gas. That's where I met. That's actually not where I met Eric Rissler, but that's where I first started hanging out with him. He was the bouncer there, and he was.
He seems like someone that would be a bouncer.
Yeah, he was the bouncer there, but I remember his back was all fucked up at the time, so he was in this brace. And he used to do all these jokes on stage about how he was the bouncer, but his back was fucked up, and that was my first experience with comedy clubs, just being actually in because I had been to clubs, gone to a couple mics here and there. I'd gone to Helium, I'd been to Funny Bone once. I had gone to the Blue Room Comedy Club open mic in Springfield, Missouri. A few other spots, all along the place, really, but never had I ever really actually been in a comedy club and felt like I, was part of the scene there. But while that lasted, it was a pretty cool place. You had Thor Harder, fucking killing it. You had Mark Cukin. You had Thomas Roslin, Audra Novak, Andy Pewitt. Tyler King was a great. Jeremy Connor, Michael Davis, lots of local comedians, lots of really good talent in Cape Girardeau for during 2019 and 2018, and then once the pandemic hit, it just fucking disappeared.
Yeah,
I mean, me and Eric and Annie and Thomas, with the exception that he really only does, or they only really do my shows, but me and Annie and Eric, I think, are the only Cape Girardeau people that are really like working at live stand-up. I believe Tom's been doing a lot of cartoons, a lot of political work and cartoons and drawing shit, and Tyler King's been working on a lot of video. And Liam Ollendorf, a good buddy of mine, bandmate, he used to be, and he still is, brilliant comedian, one of those guys that could just go on stage, and he has jokes, but it's just him on stage, just being Liam. He was fucking amazing at it, but he hasn't done it since March of last year. I know, because I hosted for him at my family's home at the campground out there that my grandpa built in the 70s, where I stayed a lot of times in the summer, but I forgot what we were even talking about.
Marijuana will affect a young mind.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, you were talking about coming up in the comedy scene and the club out there and Tom Cook and all them.
Yeah, so I didn't really get involved in the club out there until I was 18. From the time that I was 14 to the time I was 16, the comedy that I had was all independent shows, was all the shows that I was putting on at Jackson Street Bruco, shows I was putting on at the 505 Club, the shows I was putting on at the Vintage Room, the shows that Eric Russler was putting on at fucking nursing homes, you know. Like I
Oh
said,
wow.
lots of I've only ever done one show where I had to be completely clean, and I did 7 minutes. It was mostly just shit about John Denver because I had all. I'm a John Denver fan. I had all these jokes about John Denver that made my grandmother fucking crack up, and I was like, you know what, I got it. I can, I got this. I'm gonna fucking kill. And I did. And Wes Shatley, another great local comic that hasn't been out a whole lot since the pandemic, he says it's the best set I've ever done. And I was like, fuck you, dude. You don't tell me that a clean set about John Denver was the best set I've ever done.
Well, that little comedy thing with Ralphie May, I was just letting you watch of him sitting there, that boot camp thing. He says, learn to write clean first. Write clean first, and then go dirty.
Important, yeah.
So
You need to be able to do clean if you want to get club work or television or anything. And I can write clean jokes. I basically write two. Well, now I don't want to. I tend to write two jokes on the opposite side of the spectrum. Either it's the edgiest and dirtiest thing you've ever heard, or it's the silliest, stupidest thing you've ever heard. And I sometimes go middle ground, but just style-wise, I tend to go to one side of the spectrum. I've been trying to work on, like I said, combining them both and just getting a good, a solid, clean 10 minutes is kind of my goal, where I don't mention John Denver. But
well, I mean, I know it's hard to the whole comedy thing, but especially I can't imagine because I didn't start doing it until I was 30. So I knew what life was for I had somewhat of a grasp. It continuously changes, but you. It's good that you're getting learning all the basics of how to write now, because once life really does smack you in the face, and you're able to take that and make it part of your routine, I think it's gonna be watch out. Because I mean, it is hard for people to sit there and watch a younger teenager at that point still.
yeah,
Come up and try to talk, especially someone. Now, if you were just going up there doing just jokey jokes, like a lot of my stuff when I'm do all clean is, then you're it's golden.
Yeah.
But to try to talk about like real life,
Yeah.
it's hard. I guess it's hard to try to relate for the crowd to relate in a way. I could see, but
Which I always hated because like a lot of my jokes were centered in, I've always tried to make them at least loosely based in truth, even if it's not true at all. It's loosely based
that's not true. Look, people that say you have to write.
No, I don't think you have
the
to.
real life
I
is
just used
is
to.
the best comedy. Stephen Wright.
Well, that's very true, Stephen Wright.
Henny Youngman.
Oh, yeah.
Some of just it's a perfect example. These guys were Mitch Hedberg's. A lot of the one-liners are they're jokey jokes.
Had I had some realism in there. He talked about being a drug addict and alcoholic. He talked about some of his, which is like whenever I first started out, my 5 minutes was observational jokes, and then I had some bits about how I was homeschooled on and off, and I did pretty well. I got to be known around Cape as like the kid that does stand up, and I don't know, it got to be pretty fun. But I've expanded since then. I haven't done a lot of stand up in Cape. That show we did there last night was the first actual comedy show that's been booked in Cape Girardeau for damn near a year, and I don't know. I've been performing a lot more in St. Louis up here, and really trying to get Perryville more. I've been doing shit there now for 4 years, and about to get some new venues going, a couple mics going. My goal is to get a show every week out there.
Yeah, but you need to, if you've got places that are letting you do these shows for free,
Or not
like,
every week, but bi-weekly.
if you're not having to pay them or they're not charging anything, you need to get one a week that's some money. You gotta, if you're gonna put on like a showcase and put a bunch of effort into it, like, for one, you gotta do it. You gotta be on there every day. Like, I get notifications 4 or 5 times a day from Mary Jane's show that she's got coming up this
Mary
weekend.
Jane puts together a lot of really good shows.
Yeah, but you see
I'm on
them.
one of hers February 26th.
Yeah, you're flooded with that flyer. I see that flyer
Everywhere.
every day, multiple times a day, and that's what you got to be on and do.
Yeah. I used to be a lot. I don't know, a lot more.
And what else are
involved
you
in the
doing?
promotion.
You ain't got a job, dude.
Fuck,
you're walking post.
I get jobs on and off. I do lots of manual labor. I work at farms. I help people load shit into the backs of trucks. I help roofing, concrete. I've done before.
This isn't an interview. This isn't or a sales pitch to get you hired.
Hey,
How many people are gonna want to hire you off this podcast?
Maybe. Hey.
I mean, I'm sure we could find you work if you lived out here, and you could if you could get to a point of like pick up and drop off. We could find you something that's regular.
I'm working on trying to get something going.
You just don't want a full time, huh?
Well, no, I don't. I don't mind. I mean, I would do a full time if I could get there, and like all I want to do is just to be able to. I just want to get to a point where I can do what I love and not have to worry.
Yeah, but when it comes down to feeding
there.
yourself, man, the comedy guys that you're hanging out with, and luckily, I'm not. If we needed the help, if we needed another laborer, I'd bring you in and probably let you crash out there in the fucking garage because it's fully insulated and powered and everything and set up. But it's not that we don't.
No, I understand.
It's a hard little where I'm 100%. At. There's a list, but the other comedians, they're just Ronaldo's at the pageant. I can't imagine him what he's doing there. His position is making very much money at the pageant. I mean, all those jobs. Find a trade and get in it, and because you can go into getting a trade and shit. Well, the minimum wage is lifting to 15. Get a regular. Just $15 an hour. You can live off of that for sure. Finding a roommate and everything close to the comedy club. But you got to feed yourself and work a job to be able to relate with the crowd because the crowd are all workers, They all work. If you want to be one of those comedians that do that, I feel, this is an opinion. This isn't, who the fuck am I? I'm nobody. But when you look at that, when you step back and look at it, it's like you're trying to relate with the crowd or win the crowd over the whole time. So it would. I can only imagine helping yourself is going to help your comedy.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
But I don't see many job opportunities in the comedy post and forums. They need help or they got spots because comedians, we all we'll work together to a point, but in the back of our head, these other comedians are jealous that you got the show, or they're seeing you on that flyer.
So much competition involved in this.
To a point, but they're not gonna. There's not enough working class people. Like that's something me and Rob Durham was talking about the other night. Like he took that job as a teacher. He's a teacher. It's a career and everything. So. He's able to keep the lady that he fell in love with, and he's able to have a good life and still do comedy. He's a professional comedian. He gets booked. He headline shows and shit. So, and then you said you write a lot. You can write a fucking book too, like he did, and financially be set up to pay for the shit you need to do to be able to write a book. Because I'm sure it costs some money to produce. Or to develop
100%. I've actually written a book, but it costs so much to actually distribute it. It just hasn't come out.
You gotta have a fucking whatchamacallit, an editor and a
Yeah, you gotta have all this shit.
yeah. You gotta find one of those, somebody that reads it and someone that manages you if you've
Yeah.
gotten something like that. If you don't know what it is, but
Yep.
you can. I mean, you can definitely.
Yeah, I wrote a book called "The Highway Tramp's Guide to a Slow Death," and it's kind of a handbook to hitchhiking and also just autobiographical and then loosely autobiographical. There's some stories I've heard in there from other people, and it's all kind of about just it's not necessarily about me, but it's from my point of view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's my report on what I've seen and lived through, hence far.
Well, just buckle the fuck up because it's coming.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the fucking pandemic alone is you're living through that at your age is
Yeah.
it's changing a lot of things in the world. Definitely different, but yeah, I think it's because you just I don't know, man. If you just get yourself a little jobby job,
Oh yeah.
I can see it would just open your it would open up so many opportunities for you to be able to go to more places and get more mics, like
Definitely. Yeah.
like
That's why I'm
because
here
you've
now.
done shows all over
Yeah.
and you got your little connections, so you could do the damn thing.
Yeah. That's
Just gotta
what
have a
I'm
cool
trying to
boss.
do. Yeah.
I'm sure you can find small landscape
Oh, yeah.
company that'll bring you in at
Definitely.
$15. Well, they have to $15 an hour.
Yeah.
I keep saying $15 an hour, like that's a good pay, but it's really not. If you look at the rate of fucking the gross domestic product, the actual production of what we've produced, and the amount that we produce, and how much it's how much more we're producing today than
Yeah.
just 20 years ago, and the efficiency and the quality of it, along with the amount of profit that these corporations are making. And if you look at it on the charts and everything, it shows that we should be, if the minimum wage would have gone up with the profits and the production and the price per living, we should be at like $21 an hour.
Yeah.
Now, saying that, you're starting to bark up my tree.
Yeah.
Now, if it was to get bumped up there, and this is like just what the math shows. This is just, it's like in the 20s that if everything had gone up continuously, like, but it just like kind of stagnated. I'm guessing right around the time Nixon, and then those
Goddamn Nixon.
20 years where Reagan, Nixon, and everything in between to today is just really fucked a lot of shit up.
Yeah.
So, but the country doesn't like change, and that's
No, they do not.
but they
Humans in
allowed it.
general.
Well, this new generation, mine, and the ones before and after me, we all do not like change.
Yeah.
But we allowed they say that they don't like change, but if you really look at what they did back in the day when they took us off the gold standard,
Oh yeah.
or they created the Federal Reserve pretty much illegally, it's all like,
Lots of change.
yeah, there's been big, huge, drastic changes that we laid over. It's like
Yeah.
and if you I wonder if you look around at everything and you really like step back and look at the situation. Okay, that little thing was going on, but why? And you see, like, what was it? How did these people get so manipulated and like bent over the rail, no lube, and allow it to just happen? And you see like how it was pretty much just by manipulation, and our country is pretty good at that shit. I mean, if you really think about it,
Like we're kind of the best at it.
yeah. I mean, we're manipulated
Number one, actually.
in our own people too, and it's
yeah.
like, yeah, we are number one at something. Trump wins. He
Yeah.
made America great again.
right.
He great at manipulating us. No, that that I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a fucking Biden fan.
Same.
And,
Yeah.
um,
I'm not a
I feel
fan.
it's pretty hard for comedians to be. I don't meet too many comedians that are diehard.
Yeah.
But there are political comedians out there, of course.
I
That
do
are
think, there's. I like political comedy, but you have to attack both sides. Anyone
yeah.
that picks a single side, yeah, you can lean towards one side more, but like to you see comedians that like
The greats like
You know,
Carlin, they did both sides. They attacked the
oh yeah, or
establishment as a whole.
Lewis Black.
Yeah,
Even
as a whole, you have to attack them.
honestly, I think
The Democrats ones and the Republican hacks, they're just hacks to me. Those guys that only will talk about and joke about the other side and have their little TV shows. It's like you're a hack. You're just a hack. You got a team of writers writing basic hack jokes from that basic. Okay, this is the headline in the news. Break every single word down and do word association with it. Let's make our brainstorming bubbles over here and do that. That's hack shit. And I get it. It sells because people are fucking.
well, people are stupid. They
There's
want the easiest
unintelligent.
digestible comedy.
Yeah, you can tell that too when you go in. I've got some jokes that I'll tell, and if it's just, it's not the crowd's fault that they don't get it. It's my fault for not realizing the crowd wasn't ready for something like that.
Yeah.
Like I did one once, I forget where it was, but I did this. I said, it was a new joke I've worked on. It's Einstein used to get into a lot of fights when he would teach calculus. Yeah, anytime he told them to square up, they thought he wanted to fight.
That's a great joke.
And
Problem is, most people don't know what calculus is.
yeah, it's like just finding the square root isn't calculus, dumbasses. And then they're like, "Wait a minute, I didn't get that joke yet. It's still registering, and now you just called me a dumbass too, for thinking it was a." And I did too in the beginning because I said the joke and I seen this lady and she looked like a teacher and she's like. And I was like, and I really don't think calculus is where the square root has anything to do with the square root. And then she laughed and she shook her head. I was like, I felt like a kid again, like getting proved by the teacher. But yeah,
certain rooms like smart jokes. Certain rooms just want.
some rooms just want shock and awe. Like last night, those people wanted to hear. Offensive jokes, which is cool,
oh man,
because I do well with those.
I wish I wasn't hosting that show because it comes to offensive jokes. I could have done a 10-minute set of stuff that Whenever people tell me to be offensive, I usually get it like really badly. Like I go real far, and usually they get really mad at me.
Oh, I mean, I can do. I mean, the people that like offensive humor and inappropriate
That's the thing.
humor,
Yeah, you gotta.
they're gonna either like me or they're not. There's not.
I remember the joke I got like the worst feedback on ever once. Nate Barron was on a show and we were doing something and I was like, "Well, what kind of jokes do you guys like?" And then someone yelled, "Dark jokes," and I was like, "You sure?" And like, "We want the darkest joke you got."
Wesley Snipes dark?
Yeah, I made something along. I don't know if I said Wesley Snipes dark. I said something like so dark that the cops will beat it for no reason whatsoever. It was something along those lines, a tag towards the police. And oh fuck, the joke was I think the hardest part about planning a funeral for a miscarriage was probably trying to find a small enough suit. That there's a woman right up front that she got so fucking upset, like so mad. She started getting hysterical and yelling. She left the fucking place and then came back after my set in the middle of Brandon Olson's set, walked back to the back of the room and proceeded to tell me how I was a piece of shit and how I should not have even thought to have written a joke about a miscarriage, even though it was her husband who asked for the darkest joke I could think of. So that's what she got.
Yeah.
And that's not even the darkest joke I could think of. That was just the first one that popped into my brain at the time. I could have talked about the Slender Man or Jeffrey Dahmer or school shootings or Robin Williams hanging himself, or I could have taken it many ways, but had to go miscarriage.
Miscarriage is fine. Nothing's off limits if it's funny.
Miscarriage is
I
fine.
mean, there's white comedians that have said the N word
Yeah.
on recorded shit, and they don't get in trouble
Yeah.
because it's funny and it's not malicious
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and offensive. So if it's not that and you're able to do it, it just maybe shows your level. But I mean, I grew up in a black family. I just don't. I wouldn't try to say the N word just because I had black friends that would be like, "You can say it, say it, say it." I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
it's not because I was scared of it. And it's not like I've never said the word. It's just I have the more respect, and even if they were
Yeah.
cool with it, I'm not gonna be like, then. It's just one of those things that, in my point of view, it's stupid that it's something that's even an
Yeah.
issue at this point, especially racism. Period. I've always said to people, like people said, I've appropriated culture or something, and it's racist. It's like, well, I'm not racist, and there's nobody out there that can show me that the racism is real. But the reasoning for being racist, the people that are racist, they have no good reasoning that's intelligent whatsoever to be racist towards a whole race of people.
Yeah.
There's just none whatsoever. There's nothing, no intellectual
Yep.
fucking nothing like that can say there's any good reasoning for it. That just sounds ignorant, it's stupid, and it's unneeded. And I mean, it's one of those things. And then that needs to be wiped out genetically, as far as like not like scientifically, but like just phased out, like gotten rid of by like not even being something that's in our culture anymore, by getting rid of it, not getting rid of the word or anything. And then the biggest thing is these people that are like, well, I have the right and the freedom. No, you don't have the
Yeah.
right and the freedom to be racist.
You do not have the
I don't care if that sounds like cancel culture. No, it doesn't.
No.
We don't need people out there on both sides, on any side. We don't need to have the clans, and then or strictly white fucking members only and black members only and shit like that, and the segregation. And I mean, I even go down to the thing with religion on that shit. Like, religion is the beginning of all segregation. Is the beginning of it. I mean, and look at Christianity alone, one of the most populars. All the Abrahamic based religions. It's so segregated. It's like 3 or 4 main ones. You got like Muslims, Jewish, fucking all these other ones, and they're like split off. They all believe in something. One little detail or something's changed, and one name is changed. It was all stolen from the Sumerians' ancient stories. So and then you get into like Christianity, you got like this Presbyterian, Baptist, this and that. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Literally.
No pun intended. How many fucking different religion branches do you need? Like you need Presbyterian, Baptist, Catholic, all these other things. It's like, geez, this is stupid.
They
like,
do, because certain people require different things to be
everybody
controlled.
wants to be their own fucking like leader of their own cult.
That's the way it works.
Their own mythical cult that they run.
The basis of religion is mind control, and certain people need different things to be convinced of things due to their area. That's why I was raised by Baptists. There's some people were raised Jewish, some people were raised Muslim, some people were raised.
You can't mention that word, the J word.
Oh. But the thing is, it's all mind control. It's telling you from day one what's okay and what is not okay, how to feel about things, how you're supposed to feel, what the beginning is, what the end is, what all the good shit is, and what all the bad shit is. And then you get basically brainwashed into this cycle of thinking to where you cannot even fathom anything. You can't accept other things. You can't live. You can't truly indulge in life because I can't get a tattoo.
Can't wonder
because,
what if.
Yeah, like I'm Jewish. I can't get a tattoo because if I do, I'm not going to be able to get buried with my family. Well, fuck that shit. It's a fucking piece of ink. Yeah. If you get a tattoo, you cannot be buried in a Jewish cemetery. There's many
of the
things
whole
like
Holocaust barcode thing. Or is that just a
I don't know.
Or is that because it's like
I'm not really sure exactly.
vandalism to the
I think,
temple or
yeah, I think it's
something.
more of an older thing of vandalism to the
Well,
temple and to the god.
I took a deep dive in there. Like I looked at like if you read, I didn't read it, but I basically watched a bunch of videos and audio books about like the Old Testaments versus the
Yeah.
New Testaments, and like the new all these religions have basically they keeping up with the society. Basically, they're always the ones that hold society back, and then they like take slow steps into it. Like if you look at the old what is it, the Talmud or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and the that there's some gnarly shit in there.
100%.
But just like all these old ancient religions, there's some gnarly shit in there.
Oh, yeah.
There used to be people that like sacrificed to their gods, and
Mm-hmm.
like it's and they if they were still a popular thing and their people had won the war,
Yeah.
those religions would be the predominant religion
That's the
today.
way it is.
That's, I mean, it's just the fact that the white European, I guess the Caucasus mountain people, that
Yep.
we were the most savage and barbaric ones. But we don't have to be that way
No.
today. It's 2021. That's why when people say,
Seriously.
"Well, that's just the way it is," does it have to be? Really,
Yeah.
we're still saying that?
Yeah,
You've been
that's just
saying
the
that
way it
shit
is.
since the fucking 1800s. Well, that's just how it is.
Seriously.
How like you dig into taxes from our government. You know, if the fucking people that died in the war against being taxed and the whole, Revolutionary War and everything,
Yeah.
the what was it? I may be mixing up my wars, but they did the tea in the fucking river and everything.
Yeah.
Because of taxes.
The
So,
Boston Tea Party.
yeah, they would be turning over in their graves if they knew how much we were paying in taxes to a
Oh, yeah.
government again. Like it's probably tenfold of what they were fighting over and died over back then. But
Mm-hmm.
today we're just to bend over and take it. How much? And they don't do any good with it. It's just they use all of it to fucking research and
Yeah.
build new fucking forms to kill more humans.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, what the?
And what cracks me up is these religious organizations that we've been talking about, they're not taxed whatsoever.
Yeah, no, they've got
Everybody else is, but they're not. And that's fucking bullshit. Because they're running the biggest scam of any business. They're selling a product that you can't even see, and there's literally no proof it even exists. Yet, we got to pay taxes, but they fucking don't. Why?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
They're
bro.
selling the biggest bullshit to hundreds of thousands of people. Some of them, some much smaller, but still, they're selling the biggest crock of shit that you can possibly sell somebody, and yet
Well,
they're
I
not a
really
business.
think that it has helped some people. That's I think why they don't talk about and don't say they slowly release alien shit and all that stuff like that. You
Yeah.
see it slowly that they've been releasing more and more.
Well, they released
stuff.
last year, didn't they? Like the Pentagon put out a thing like saying we
Yeah,
acknowledge that aliens exist, basically.
Well, they said that they recovered an unearthly made vehicle. So basically,
Yeah.
they said so. If there's an unearthly made vehicle, and recently, what they've finally discovered recently on the news, the most recent one was these patents that this guy with the I think he's an American. And he works for Navy intelligence, and he patented like basically a triangular UFO. It's like they're calling it like a machine, a device that can alter the fabric of reality and everything with
Yeah.
like gravitational forces. But that's been out on like the conspiracy channels with the alien UFO
Yeah.
fucking conspiracy
Georgia.
nuts. They say, look at these patents, and everyone's like, oh, they don't even pay attention to them. Now they're paying. Now it's in the headlines that it's the Navy has released. The Navy has released that a long time ago. Those
Yeah.
papers were out. What about the new shit? It was like almost the media's kind of waiting to be given the green light, which I'm sure that's how it is. I mean, if you really dig into some of those conspiracies, this whole CIA shit that's like
Oh, yeah.
pretty much owns CNN and or it could be that they come to them and they'd be like, you want to be a hero?
Yeah.
CIA operative?
Seriously.
A secret spy? How are you going to do it? You're going to be a CNN head reporter. We're gonna make you famous, man.
That is the weirdest CIA operative I've ever heard in my entire life. Matthew McConaughey working for the CIA. So, guys, you want to come over to the CIA?
Well, no, they just control.
Be a lot cooler if you did.
The way they do it is they tell these reporters like what they can and can't. They give them the information, and they'll tell them, "All right, don't report this."
Definitely.
Like,
Did you ever
give them bunch of money and shit.
Did you ever see the movie or read the book Confessions of a Dangerous Mind? About I'm forgetting his name. The guy. So the dating game and the Gong Show, like the old game shows and shit. Like you were at the Gong Show.
No.
Well, the idea of the Gong Show, it was this. It was back in the 70s. They got the worst people from all the talent shows. Like they get all the worst people from all. So this guy was trying to start a talent show on TV, and they kept getting people in, and they were just horrible and horrible and horrible, and they had to send so many of them out. So he decided to start a show where they get celebrities, and there's a big gong, and they bring on this horrible act, and they see how long they can last before one of them hits the gong, and they fucking send them out. Well, this guy also created the dating game, which is a very, very, very popular game, a very popular fucking TV show, classic dating fucking game show setup. Meanwhile, this guy claims that he was murdering people for the CIA because I don't have all the facts on this, but there was a film, a major motion picture made with Sam Rockwell and George Clooney was in it. A whole lot of people were in that film. Then later on, I was working at a library years after I saw the movie, and I found this guy's book, and he details how so on the dating game, the idea is the couple who won, they would get a ticket to go stay somewhere, a fucking trip, a free vacation, and that'd be where he has to go kill somebody. So always be some shitty place. It'd be like Slovenia or Slovakia, or like instead of it being like you're going to Hawaii, it's like and you're going to fucking Deutschenbergenstein.
You're going to North Korea.
Yeah, seriously. And he'd accompany them, and he'd take them out on a date, and then he'd go shoot some guy. And he claims this was all true. Now, as far as I know, there are no facts to actually prove this. However, people who have worked with him say that he was insane and always showed up with blood on his shirt and shit. The movie is fantastic. Sam Rockwell, Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barry. I don't like Drew Barry.
It's a
I'm just
fantastic
kidding,
movie.
Drew.
He's just kidding, Drew.
Yeah, who is Drew Carey? But she's, I don't know. She was cool in the Charlie's Angels, which is probably one of the worst movies.
Yeah.
I've heard. What was this shit called?
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind is the name of the film, and there's a book that it is based off of, and pretty far out.
Is that the name of the book too?
I believe it is the name of the book. I think I don't know. It might not. I can look it up right now. I'm not sure necessarily.
I'll look it up later.
Right on. But yeah, it's a very far out story of the CIA.
So basically the Confessions of a Dangerous Mind conspiracy.
Yeah, he so basically he the idea was the CIA had all these people, and they were going out and they would people who were down on their luck, people who didn't have any family, people who didn't have much of a relationship, people who didn't have a steady job, people who were chasing their dreams that were failing, people who might actually be willing to kill somebody. And so they went around and they got all these people, and it was said, he said that there were hundreds of them, and there were all kinds of them. They just meet them out in the middle of restaurants one day on a bad day or some shit. And in this film, George Clooney plays the guy that meets up with him. And the idea is that, like I said, they just meet up with these guys just down on their luck and ask if they want to change their lives and help their country and save the world and work for the CIA and start killing people for them. And so they did. I don't know if this can be proved at all, but it's a very far out story.
I'll check into it.
Yeah.
That's like Mike Radcliffe. When I first started the podcast a couple months ago, he
Yeah.
was over and he was talking to me about a the Wall Street Reddit bet stuff.
Yeah.
And I had dug all into that after he had mentioned it, and then it was just crazy to see that it was finally unfolding. And he had just mentioned it a few months prior. If I would have heard about it a lot sooner and been able to dig into it, but it's a lot of information to go into and to try to risk
A lot
any
of
money.
shit there.
But they had a solid plan, and it worked for a while. But a lot of people didn't. Got left holding the bag, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So we kind of went way off the topic.
Yeah.
But I mean,
What's
I
the
don't know.
agenda
There is
now?
no topic or
No.
agenda. I've never had one. I did with Rob, kind of. I stuck with comedy with that one.
Yeah.
a
Little
little bit.
Rob's a real pro.
Yeah, when it comes to the comedy advice
Yeah.
and everything. So, what shows you got coming up?
Oh, well, we got the one tonight. Then I got February 25th at Jackson Street Brew Co. And then February 26th at Shade.
I like Shade's place. It's a nice place.
Oh, yeah. I've actually never been there before. That's like one of the few mics I've never hit up before.
Yeah, I went there one night. I forget where we were at. We went to one mic somewhere in the city I've never been to and never gone back to. But, dude, these people got thrown out for being too drunk. And then
Damn.
some dude showed up with like some AR-15s.
Fuck.
And they were outside. And we were like, yeah, I think the mic's. Nobody was there. So I was like, yeah, the mic, I'm out.
Yeah.
And we went to Shade. And I heard about that place. And, yeah, no, that was a pretty nice one. They do like word up stuff. I mean, open word, spoken word.
I'm real stoked about it. Mary Jane booked me on the show, and I think she's hosting the show. Actually, it's gonna be me, Tommy Dangerfield. There's many more people on the show, but for some reason my brain is
Dangerfield's
blinking.
nice.
Oh yeah,
Mary Jane's nice
I apologize
too.
for not remembering.
She's like
who
the
else on
top
show.
one on the whole competition. That I'm thinking she could walk away with it.
Oh yeah, she, Mary Jane. Well, like we were talking about hosting, just earlier.
Yeah, she's been doing the scoreboard up
Yeah,
the basement.
she's a very good host. I think. Like
I go there. I go there
like
weekly.
that,
I try to at least.
Yeah, well, I mean that's one of the reasons I really want to come and start staying like in the city. And I'm gonna probably stay with Bugovich or just kind of jump around for the next few months. Is that mic, because I've never had a bad set there, and I've hit it up fucking 3 or 4 times now, and every time I've killed, and I've already gotten 2 shows booked out of it. So I tend to do really well in that room for some reason, specifically that room.
Hey, it's a fun mic.
Oh, yeah.
Been there quite a few times.
I really like the old school feel of it. Like I like that there's actually like pool tables right there, because it reminds me of like Rudy Ray Moore or like Richard Pryor, because like their early recordings, Richard Pryor had an album, I believe it was even called Pool Hall something, and it was recorded in a fucking pool hall, and you could hear guys playing pool in the back of the fucking place on the album. And Richard Pryor is the reason I got into stand-up comedy. I've idolized him like as an artist from a very, very, very young age. Ever since I found one of his fucking cassette tapes in my grandma's attic whenever I was 10 years old. So that's, to me, like that's one of the reasons why I love that place so much. Just specifically because there's those pool tables there. It just, for some reason, it just gives me this nostalgic vibe that I always hoped like I'd have whenever I was 10 years old. And I was like, I'm going to do stand-up someday, listening to Richard Pryor tell the dirtiest jokes known to man.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you keep at it, it's like they said, you do something enough, if you write enough, if you perform enough, for long enough, you'll make money in it.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be able to make enough money at it. You'll do well enough to.
I'm about to release my first album, actually, at the end of this month. I've been working on that since I've been working on The material, this is a combination of I've been working on from the time I was 17 and I'm 20 now. I could use some of the shit I used to use whenever I was 16 and 15 because that was all right, but I don't really want to use any of that. So whenever I was 17, I really started developing an act, and I would like feature places much more. And I had a solid 10 that I would do at in Carbondale monthly and Cape monthly and St. Louis a lot and Perryville monthly, and been building on this ever since then. And that last recording I did was shitty. I was not on my game, and the fucking show was way overbooked. I got this like, if people come to my show and ask to be on the show, I always put them on just because I feel like they drove so far, and I feel like a dick if I'm like, oh no, you can't go up and do 5 minutes, because it's like, what the fuck's 5 minutes? But I ultimately ended up fucking myself because by the time I went on stage I was supposed to be recording 25 minutes. Half the audience had left, and the show had been going for almost 2 hours. And so I only need to record about 15 more minutes because I got a good, 7 minutes out of that recording. And I'm going specifically for 45 minutes because I want to release it on 12-inch vinyl. But it's called Elijah Z. Talent, Drunk and Worthless. I wanted to release one this early because, like, when I was really young, I also used to, well, I still love Chris Rock a lot, and he released his first album whenever he was like 19 or 20 or 21 or something like that. And the style is similar, but when you listen to him now, or, even just, 10 years after that point, it evolved so much. And I wanted to have that, that physical or digital, thing just there, a little piece of history to where, like,
Well, vinyl ain't digital, dog.
well, I know vinyl. I'm gonna do vinyl and digital. I'm not gonna release it on CDs because people don't buy CDs anymore. I'm going for 45 minutes so I can do a vinyl release, and then I'll just do a digital release as well.
Well, that's expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm working towards it.
it's expensive. I know. I've looked into getting vinyls made and
Oh, yeah.
or buying a vinyl maker, something that
Yeah.
just doing it myself. But
Definitely a
it's a couple
expensive
grand to invest in.
Oh, 100%. A couple grand. I imagine, like I said, I will I will do a digital release first, probably way before I get the money to do vinyl. And when I do vinyl, it will be a limited release. I'll just make a website and I'll have some on there. And I just want to keep one. But, yeah, that's what I'm working
Oh well,
towards
you can
now.
have one made fucking.
Oh
like
yeah, for $50. And, you can have one made
Depending on how long
without
you
a
want.
sleeve for $100. If you want the sleeve, without a sleeve, you can get one for 50 at this one place in Springfield. But if you want a sleeve, sometimes that can go up to like $200, depending on how much color you're talking about, what fabric you want, what type of sleeve you want.
Yeah.
But
So those are the only shows you got so far?
the only certain ones booked, there's been working on booking a lot more for the future. I actually have, I have a few. I'm going on a bit of a tour later on in May, late May. Me and Zach Bugovich, he's going to open and drive me around, and we're gonna get Nick Kuvar on there, and I think Ronaldo and Jake Palak were supposed to be on a couple of the shows too, but we're doing one in Centralia. There's gonna be one in Springfield, Missouri. There's gonna be one in Perryville, Missouri, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Carbondale, Illinois, at the Varsity Center, which that's actually gonna be cool as fuck. I'm actually gonna be filming there because it's a 300-seat theater, but they're only letting in a 75 cap, and they're spacing them all out, which will be really cool. He's gonna make the flyer and get shit going to where people can start buying tickets now. So we're going. So yeah, we got that, and then I'm trying to get Nate to book me one out his way, get a few going in St. Louis. Got one in Chicago. I'd like to maybe get one of the spots surrounding Chicago, like Champaign or maybe Aurora, something like along there, because they all got some smaller comedy clubs that can maybe get a spot on it, at the very least a featuring spot on a local show. Been contacting lots of bars and shit like that, trying to get it going, but after I release my album, that 45 minutes that I have, I'm not going to do it anymore because it's all older material that I've been working on since I was 17, and I've saved myself 10 minutes of stuff that I know works part of the time, and I'm going to just build off that and try to make that works part of the time work all the time, and then just add joke per joke, joke per joke. Just keep adding jokes until that 10 minutes turns into the next 45 for the next album.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you guys gotta punch up your shit, tag it, bag it. Yeah. What about your social medias? Where can people find you?
You can find me. Well, I really don't have any right now. I'm on Facebook, Elijah Z Talent. I'm gonna make a website soon when I get the chance to. But yeah, I'll tell you where you can go if you want to find content of mine. You can find it on Facebook, J Street Comedy, or Jackson Street Comedy, or Trippy Fruit Punch Productions. I've produced 2 albums on there, of one musical and one I produced a comedy album for Jim the Dad Keith, and we put it out on various streaming platforms. You can find that. You can find them on YouTube as well. Trippy Fruit Punch Productions. Since the pandemic has not been a whole lot of content released, but hoping to release some more this summer. Some upcoming movies, perhaps, maybe short films, albums, shit like that.
Yeah. What's the best tip anyone's ever given you for the people you've done comedy with?
I'm trying to think what the best tip I've ever been given. Well, I don't know. I've had a few really good tips. I can give you 2. Nathan Norton said, "Work dark, fuck what everybody says, but try not to say fuck so much." And that's exactly how he worded it. Work dark, fuck what everybody says, but try not to say fuck so much. And to me, that's good advice, because it's like, joke about whatever the fuck you want to, but if you do it smart enough, people will get it, and it will make people laugh. If you do it, if you can joke about anything, as long as you do it right,
Yeah, as long as it's funny and not malicious, you can joke about whatever you want.
JC Sabala told me whenever I was pretty young, we were talking after a show, and he was like, "Dude, you need to write jokes a bit more personal." And he's like, because from what we know about you, you got a fairly good story. You need to write things based, and plus it helps the audience build a rapport. Especially, I was hosting a lot back then, and I was doing a lot of observational, or just talking about the news, political stuff, things I read, and just nothing personal whatsoever. All lack of that, really. And after he told me that, I started writing about my hometown, Patton. I started writing about being homeschooled more. I started writing about experiences in high school and experiences in elementary school whenever I was there. Past relationships, drugs, and things like that. But that advice really opened up a different world.